One man, one mission, to rid the world of chronic anxiety once and for all. The Anxiety Guy, Dennis Simsek, shares his personal transformation from living a life filled with overwhelming worry to becoming a full-fledged positivity machine. A leading authority in generalized anxiety, Dennis gets to the truth of your mental health challenges and sets you on a path to transforming each and every area of your life. Here he is, the one and only, the Anxiety Guy.
Warriors, welcome to episode number 115 of the Anxiety Guy podcast. I'm Dennis Simsek, and today I'm going to dive deep into what's called learned helplessness. I'm going to show you what it is. I'm going to explain in detail how it affects anxiety sufferers as well as depressed people currently, as well how it played a part in my own life and what you can do about it. I'm going to give you 3 very important solutions on how you can deal with learned helplessness because it is an epidemic. It's everywhere. It's in everybody lately. It seems like everybody's going through learned helplessness. So it's not talked about enough, and there is not enough solutions out there. So we're diving deep today. We're going to go into this, my friends, and to understand it a little bit, I want to give you a little metaphor here. Think about baby elephants that get tied to a rope in a circus, for example. Those baby elephants do all they can in their power to try to get out of that rope, to get out of that tied feeling. They want to escape. They want to escape and go into the jungle. So they try, they give it everything they got, and after some time, they just believe that, you know what? All this effort is meaningless. It's useless. So the baby elephant grows up to be an adult. And even though they're strong enough to escape the rope as an adult, they've conditioned themselves to believe that it's not worth the effort. So they always wait for the trainer to come around and let them out. This is very, very similar to adult behavior. It's not just in animals, it's in adults as well. Learned helplessness occurs when people or animals feel helpless to avoid negative situations. Is this currently going on in your life? Learned helplessness often begins in childhood for those who've experienced neglect or abuse, or who have witnessed a parent show signs of this condition. Perhaps as an infant, their cries for their mother were met with much silence. Eventually, they learned that there was no reason for them to cry, since their mother would not come to their aid anyway. So this was very similar to what happened in my life many, many times, where I wanted love, I wanted acceptance, I wanted to feel significant, I wanted to feel like my life had some purpose, I wanted to follow certain things and do certain things as a child would. And guess what? I just didn't see that in my parents. I did not see the support that I truly wanted. So I started to adopt a learned helpless behavior. Now, when a parent tells their child that their life is as good as it will get, that they cannot and should not expect their life to improve, the pattern then carries on to the next generation. This is why we sometimes see families who become more and more unhealthy. Generation after generation, they give up, assuming that their efforts that they put forward on their part will be futile. Now, as this child becomes an adult, they continue using this psychological approach in their adult efforts, with fear as the driving force behind these attempted efforts. These adults may fear that success is actually impossible, so they give up before they even get started, or they stop before they succeed. They may be fearful that others will actually judge them harshly. Or worse, they may judge themselves harshly for not being good enough. This is so common with so many people today. This condition is called perfectionism. Adults in this situation either give up on attempting important milestones in their adult lives, or they give up before they can even complete these milestones. These include dating, receiving higher educations, choosing a mate, choosing a career, being a parent, it doesn't matter, etc. People who struggle with learned helplessness blame themselves for everything. They struggle as a result with low self-worth, anxiety, and depression. Now, it's important to understand that any extended period of negative emotions can lead to you giving in to despair and accepting your fate. If you remain alone for a long time, you will decide that loneliness is a fact of life and pass up opportunities to hang out with other people. You will pass up those opportunities to hang out with other people. The loss of control in any situation will lead to this state of being. At the root of it all, learned helplessness is a form of conditioning, though. Conditioning is based on the idea that human behavior is learned through pairings and associations and responses in the environment. So this means that if something is reinforced and rewarded, we are more likely to repeat that behavior again. And likewise, if we are punished, we are more likely to avoid that same behavior in the future. So I ask you this very important question right now. Are you currently dealing with learned helplessness? Or do you know someone that's dealing with learned helplessness? Now, it's important to understand that learned helplessness can be overcome. And I want to show you guys 3 very powerful solutions on how you can begin to overcome your learned helplessness. Or if you know somebody that's going through learned helplessness, you're going to want to share this episode with them to help them understand what's truly going on and help them tap into real solutions. Number 1 solution is learned helplessness versus learned optimism. You can change learned helplessness behavior by changing the way you look at the causes of events in your life. This is known as something called attributional style or explanatory style. Pessimists fall into patterns of learned helplessness by seeing personal situations as internally related. So, like something is wrong with me. I'm never good at anything. Stable and long-lasting, possibly. This will happen again. I know it. I'm doomed to repeat this again. You see it all the time. Or global and all-encompassing, which means this screw-up will be everywhere and follow me forever. Now, optimists avoid patterns of learned helplessness by seeing personal situations as externally related, such as I didn't get enough sleep, so I wasn't thinking as clearly as I usually do. Or they see it as temporary or short-lived, such as this is probably a one-off occurrence. It happened once, but who knows what'll happen in the future. Or they see it as situation specific, such as, my weakness is in this one area, not all areas. This setback is only related to this, not all of that. So you can see how learned helplessness can be replaced with learned optimism by being externally related, by being temporary and short-lived in your understandings of what's currently going on, and situation-specific. So you can actually condition yourself to be this optimistic. Number 2, we must practice what's called reframing. Reframing has 5 steps to it. Make sure you write these down. Number 1, identify the unwanted thought or behavior. In the case of learned helplessness, the unwanted behavior is the immediate negative response to your perceived lack of control. Key word, perceived. Number 2, initiate communication with the part of the mind that is causing the behavior. Guess what? It's Daffy Duck. I like Daffy Duck because when I think about my fears, when I think about this pessimistic, this hopelessness that happens, coming from Daffy Duck, the voice in my head, quack, 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 I can even imagine my hopelessness being in the form of Daffy Duck. And all of a sudden, it's not as powerful as it used to be. So you must initiate communication with Daffy Duck in your mind, which is causing the behavior. Number 3 is you ask Daffy Duck to identify what the positive outcome of the behavior is. Every behavior should have a positive outcome. Number 4, ask Daffy Duck to find several other ways to achieve the same outcome. Ask him to find several other ways to achieve the same outcome. Then finally, gain Daffy Duck's agreement to try out the other behaviors to find a more useful behavior. Reframing reframes the current situation from a perceived lack of control to seeing it in a different way. My friends, when you can change your perceptions over what's going on, learned helplessness does not stand a chance. It's all in perception, and reframing the experience can change even the deepest forms, deepest root causes of learned helplessness that started as a child. The third way, my friends, is to reward consistent thinking and behaviors that oppose the old unhelpful ways you had before. So when it comes to learned helplessness, if you feel like you did a good job in terms of thinking, perceiving, and behaving, then give yourself some kind of a reward. Book a massage, take a warm bath, do something that you tend to go, oh my goodness, I like this so much, that you begin to attach tons of pleasure to thinking in this way, to behaving in this way. Your mind will move towards pleasure and move away from pain. So understand that the more you reward yourself in this consistent new way of thinking about these things and behaving, the more this will become your autopilot or your default mode. What we truly want is to create these types of perceptions, these types of thinking patterns, and being your new default, where you don't have to consciously think about how to think about something, how to perceive something, how to behave. You want that to be automatic. So the more you reward yourself, the more automatic that's going to become. Now, my friends, learned helplessness is something that you may be suffering from right now. But let me explain something to you. Learned helplessness becomes something in the past when you once and for all see past it. When you see past it. When you understand that it is not you, but something that has been learned, something that has been seen, something that has been taught to you. It's not you. It's been taught to you. And guess what? We can't blame those people that taught us these things because they got their information from their past generation and so forth and so forth. We can't blame them. We can only challenge them. We can only challenge them and understand that challenging your mother, challenging your father's beliefs doesn't mean you don't love them. It means that you're just trying to create the type of person that they're going to be proud of and you're going to be proud of, which means your self-worth will go up. Right now, there is no self-worth. So we must challenge them. We must challenge what they taught us. My friends, I love you so much. You are more than anxiety. Please make sure to give this podcast a positive rate and review if you're enjoying it, if it is helping you, and I'll see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful, empowered day.
Thanks for being an important part of the Anxiety Guy podcast community. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a positive rate and review. If you're searching for further support on your road to recovery from anxiety, head over to anxietyexit.com and take part in the powerful End the Anxiety program based around the CBT model. If you're searching for a more one-on-one approach, you can sign up now for personal coaching sessions with Dennis via Skype. Remember, you are more than anxiety. See you in the next episode.